Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is Mr. Dylan Fleming, the one and only Palm, Mr. Pretty Awesome Lit Music. How are you, buddy?
What's going on, Mike? I'm blessed, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
Dude, same here. I got to say, first and foremost, I love your stuff, whether you're talking about music or reviewing some music, and when we'll get into thickness protection program. But my God, man, you got a lot of variety and a lot of great content. I really enjoy your work.
Oh, come on now. It's all the journey, and I appreciate that so much that, you're digging what I put out into the universe. I've, always been an underground head, always been, a BBW lover. I had that idea thickness protection program for years, bro. Like I had drawn that like little ghetto logo, like sometime, like I want to say 2019. So people be like, do you like big girls? You like thick girls? I'll be like, yeah, I'm in the thickness protection program. So yeah, that, and then the music thing is, a lifelong love. So here I am.
Well, I look at it from a stance too as well, which also Blackstreet once sang curves the word, spins the verb, no diggity, no doubt.
I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Come on now.
Yes, sir. I mean, how can you not? I look at it from a stance too as well. And I've always said with the world, when it comes to BBWs, there's a variety for everyone. When it comes to women, the adult entertainment industry, what have you, we all like our preferences. But when it comes to women with the curves and the thickness, if you will, to quote Disturbed, but mix it up with the flavor, you're down with the thickness. It's one of the...
Yes, bro. I've been saying, you've been peeping that, like I've been down with the thickness, like Disturbed. Yeah.
Bro,
exactly, bro.
That's how you have to look at it, because I mean, in today's day and age, I mean, plus size modeling and women of all different shapes and sizes, it's wonderful just to see how women are taking over the game and really evolutionizing and revolutionizing, man.
Exactly, man. Growing up, we're both 92 babies. We're both Mac Miller babies, so growing up in that Paris Hilton era and that Britney Spears era, Beyonce was kind of the first curvy chick like really on the scene. But I mean, there's been so many women since then who have opened up the floodgates, and I don't even know if I was aware of like BBW porn or whatever till like sometime in college, maybe. So I don't know, but I always liked them thick. I don't know what it is, and no disrespect to any women of any other body type. There's beauty around the world, but this just, similar to you, man, like with the wrestling interviews and with other guests you've had on the show, anybody I'm interested in, they are invited. So that's just how it goes.
You have to look at it. And I think when it comes to podcasting or interviewing, everyone has a story to tell, and we are the guys to provide them with said platform. But what's great about it too is, man, it's like when you talk about thickness and what we have going on in the world, like I could attest to that, because I think what I always loved about a big, beautiful woman, if you will, and the voluptuosity factor being one of those key elements, man, their confidence, their swag, it's like, boom, this is me. Here I am. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to exude and accentuate myself internally and externally. It's that swag a bit about them, Palm. It's that swag, if you will.
You're absolutely right, bro. It's the swag, it's the confidence, and I feel like one of the most sexy thing a woman can have, especially a big woman, is the confidence. It's the way she dresses. It's the way she's not afraid to show some skin. It's the way she's, order what you want off the menu, baby. Hey, do you just like walk with pride and take pride in who you are.
That's how you have to look at it. And I mean, look at back in the day, and I'm sure we'll get to this topic too, but look at Will Smith and Queen Latifah on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, man. Queen Latifah had at the that the pizza parlor doing their thing. You see that in popular culture. And I will say this as well with Will Smith, since I did mention him. God dang, man, that whole thing with Chris Rock. I know you weighed in on it on your TikTok and on your Instagram.
Yeah, and I don't really like the way I weighed in on that. I did a podcast last Monday that I kind of came clean on my thoughts on that, and I will reshare that. You know what? I think that was a severe overreaction on Will's part. And, in hindsight, the joke that Chris Rock made was initially harmless. And, Will chuckled at it at first, turned to Jada. Jada's not laughing. And then he walks up and slaps Chris. And the truth of the matter is, number one, where was that energy towards August Alsina the whole time during this entanglement? And then number two is, like, at the end of the day, I think Will is afraid of his wife. He's just afraid. She just, now the proper way to handle that is like she's looking at him funny. He just tap her on the leg like, it's okay, baby, whatever. And then if you're really offended by it, you pull Chris to the side after the show, be like, yo, man, that wasn't cool. But At the end of the day, I think Will is definitely suffering mentally, because here is this man who makes like over $7 million per movie, and he's got his wife airing out all their personal business. So, and that's belittling to him, as a black man with power in Hollywood. So I feel for everybody involved, and unfortunately Chris Rock was assaulted, and these guys are mega stars. And as I said on this podcast I have coming out with my boy Walt Mansa, it was an attack on the black male image. But I just think I want to do a motivational Monday today. I didn't have enough time, but I just wanted to tell people, you're gonna have your Will Smith moments, whether that's the slap, but you don't want the recent to outweigh the total body of work, like to outweigh your Fresh Prince, your Men in Black, your Hancock, I, Robot, I Am Legend. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. For me too, I think I agree everything that you just said, because I mean, here's a man who's struggling, and again, it would have been proper in any situation. Hey, you know what? That wasn't cool. Let's actually have a discussion, verbally, break it down, not do what he did. But also look at it from a stance too. Like you talk about your motivation Monday, which I love as well, because again, we all need that positive energy and the good vibes all around, especially in today's world and climate and society. And man, I think one thing that I've always been about, and I always say this on my show, I always say life is an art form. We're all applying our crafts. We all just need to paint our canvas. You know what I'm saying? We're all artists in our own right with any endeavor that we do. So I think with people out there who want to get into an endeavor or want to do what they're doing, man, we just got to apply our crafts.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, we are all artists, all applying a craft.
And for you, my friend, I'm going to talk about this music thing here, because you're always reviewing your albums and going like the latest artists, the independent artists. For me, can you talk about how you just like music was a lifelong thing for you, as it was for me? I have a very eclectic taste, but for you, you're writing blogs, you're doing your thing, you're really doing the deep dive into the music world. What has really kind of, gravitated you towards the music realm?
Well, okay, I was raised in just a musical household. My dad was in radio programming and record promotions. So growing up, our garage was filled with CDs and filled with like plaques from working with like Run DMC and Janet Jackson. So, I grew up with like having him for a dad, and he's playing me a lot of old school music. But I had like, access to all these classic hip hop CDs at my fingertips, Doggy Style, Get Rich or Die Trying, all the NERD albums, the game shit that was popping. So I had all these basically at home. I didn't have to like really go on iTunes for any of that. And we would get like shit, like compilation CDs sent to the house, So I've always been a music lover and a fan of broadcasts. I don't know if fan is the right word, but in those footsteps into the journey in broadcast through him, number one. And then just, going to a private school where, it was more boutique. There was only it was a K through 12 school, but there was only about 100 students in the high school. So, we're going to this hipster school in Pasadena, California. Shout out to Waverly. Excellent education, excellent teachers. But the student body culture was very, hipster, for lack of a better word, man. You had a lot of kids in the EDM, a lot of kids in the indie, couple kids in the rap, and I soaked up a lot from everybody. So, and at the same time, being like one of 7 Black kids, like I'm still trying to find myself. So, through that, came, digging into underground rap from the Tony Hawk soundtracks and, other video games, just getting really invested in the underground hip hop. And then, just more and more of that. This is before the term real hip hop was corny. So just soaking up more and more of that. And then Odd Future came out, and it was a rap. Like my mind was blown, and that's all, right in our backyard. Our, living in Pasadena or going to school in Pasadena, Haji Beats from Odd Future, he's from there. So he was actually one of the first ones I heard. But to digress, man, I've just always had an ear for the shit early. Just been like, all right, I like this artist before he got big. I was like that with many people. And then my dad also has a entertainment site called The Urban Buzz, which is, tailored for the record industry, A&Rs, radio people, etc. So I was already kind of following in those footsteps of running a music editorial. So when I studied broadcast journalism in college, it was like I started writing for his site maybe, sophomore year. So then he said, you write great stuff and people are checking you out, but I didn't really know who the fans were. So around the time senior year, it was just time for me to start my own thing. And the original logo came from, at the time, this is like the tail end of the blog era. So like I'm going on Tumblr a lot, which is ironic because I was just fucking around there like a couple of minutes ago, just trying to find some wallpaper. So I started going on Tumblr a lot and came across that vaporwave palm tree logo. And then I just put my own letters to it. And here we are 7 years later.
What I've always admired, it could be the little nuances or the little integral details, if you will, that go into what you do. Like the Palm name is awesome, the pretty awesome lit music, like that fits. It's awesome. It's lit because music in its own self is lit, and we talked about different genres, what have you. But it's very funny that you bring up like broadcasting, because I was this kid, right? So I grew up on Long Island. My parents actually worked in radio for 106.1 BLI back in the day, so I would get a lot of the CDs like you would get. So what I always appreciate about it too is we have everything at our fingertips. My mom was a big fan of the Temptations and the Supremes back in the day. Like
cool.
So we have old school, it's eclectic. I remember 98.7 Kiss FM, now 107.5 over there on Long Island in New York, right? So you have Park, you have MTV, you have VH1. Everything's right at our fingertips here, Palm. One of those things where it's just like we have everything right at our fingertips, but it's also very cool because this is what we grew up with and how we got to see a lot of the great music acts and just rise to prominence.
Exactly. And one more thing I wanted to share with you, you living in Myrtle Beach, was that my dad actually worked for a radio station called the Big DM in Sumter, South Carolina.
Oh, snap. Nice. Okay.
But this is before we were born, though. So this is like way back.
Yeah.
But if you're familiar with that station, my pops used to work there.
Oh, 1000%. That's awesome. But yeah, no, that's all right. I can respect that too. And what I've always loved about this as well is because, again, we're both music heads, we're both music lovers underground. For me, we come from the eras as well with the 90s, like the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all these were the urge, right? They were the shit. So it's one of those things. What I love too about it is when you're in school, if you listen to that type of music, you get made fun of, which is like the most, if you look at it as you get older, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Just appreciate for the way music is, right?
Yeah. And I never really experienced that getting made fun of for music in school. I remember in 7th grade, actually, I came to school with a shirt that said Mike Jones Property. And they were like, oh, you're Mike. They had the property of Mike Jones, and back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. In that era, I came to school with one of his shirts on, and they were like, oh, you're Mike Jones's bitch, property of Mike Jones. But yeah, dude, it was a strange transition in middle school because, like, I'm coming from elementary school, and for whatever reason, we were all like hip hop, G Unit, Swisher Housed out, and I get to the same school I was telling you about in 7th grade, and they're like Good Charlotte, Slipknot, Disturbed. They're on their emo shit. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And like, I was just different. I've just always been kind of always fit in, but always kind of different. Like, because they all were on the iPad. I was about to call it iPad still. They were all on the iPods, and I still have my music on my PSP. So yeah, that was the thing. I don't really remember getting made fun of for music, but like I was always that kid, like, in the free block on the computer lab going on like Two Dope Boys and Mascarilla, like, and like, oh, this obscure ass rapper dropped a project. And I honestly in part created Palm to find more like-minded people who are into the same stuff musically, and just always support the little guy, because I liked how, like, if I don't know how familiar you are with like music blogs of that era, but like Two Dope Boys would cover a wide range of artists, man. Like they would cover like from Lil Wayne all the way to like a Brother Ali, so, and everybody in between. They put you on to a lot of new people, and I'm very thankful for that era that I came up in.
Same, man. I mean, like we were talking about, like I was that type of kid who would I like TRL because TRL was always the rage of Carson Daly. But I'm like, if you could give me like a Rap City with Big Tigger in the basement, and you could give me some 106 and Park with Free and AJ,
stole the words out of my mouth. Rap City and 106 and Park. Yep.
Like, and here's the thing, a lot of people who I went to school with did not really, they either knew or they didn't watch a lot about it because everything was TRL. But I'm like, if you look at the little nuances, hell, John Cena was on Rap City when he came out with his rap album in '06. Like, there's so many people that came from Rap City and have rapped in that basement that it's so prominent and to spit bars, and it's amazing to see. And Free and AJ gave us a lot of the old school joints, a lot of the people at the time coming in. I know it's Bow Wow now, but for God's sake, man, nothing can beat that time period that we saw with Big Tigger and 106.
Oh yeah, man. I used to, enjoy coming home from school and always watching 106 in Park, man. And just, that was the Rough Riders were popping. Every now and then I go back and, YouTube that Rap City episode with Dipset to just watch Cameron freestyle. So yeah, man, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because aesthetically in the back of my mind, I kind of borrowed a little bit of game from just how they had their interviews set up and how they had their content set up.
So back to where we were, like when it comes to like stuff like that, when it comes to Rap City, and what I was going to mention there was really cool is like back in the day, like we were the kids that grew up with the Soul Train, not Don Cornelius Soul Train, but when you had guys like, oh my God, like so many different names that really hosted like Soul Train back in the 90s. We came from that era where we saw like the Sammys and we came with Genuine with None of Your Friends Business and so many. Like that was what we grew up with, the Soul Train. Like I used to love watching that over the weekend. I used to love when we got to the weekend, school's out that week, and then boom, we got some Soul Train on the WB11, right?
Exactly, man. And even, as I got older, like watching MTV2, Sickimation, and, Metal Mayhem. And, that's how I, was discovering bands like The Killers and Franz Furlan. So, I originally in my mind, it was like Palm, Pretty Awesome Lit Music to firmly say there is no genre here. Like I could talk about some trap ass mixtape shit and then I could do indie rock the next post, so I think it's important to have a good balance of both. And in this climate of LA independent media outlets, I feel like I'm one of the only guys that does this.
And it's much respect, and I love that because like we were talking about music blogs, like if you're not covering, and I love the fact that we get the masses where we get to cover like big artists, but there's a lot of the little guys that are hustling and grinding to get to that point as well. Like I always compare it with wrestling because music and wrestling are so similar in a way with travel and how they incorporate the art form. Wrestling, you have the independent wrestling scene, you have your local promotion that everybody goes to, and you see those people, and eventually they'll get to the WWE or what have you in different wrestling auspices. Like you see that, and it's great to see people that you saw or you listen to get to the forefront where they deserve. I mean, it's the hustle, it's the grind, man.
Exactly. Yeah. I never got super into wrestling, but the little bits and pieces I did watch, I just loved how they be beating the fuck out of each other, and just the way they walk in the arena, like it's like they mean business. One of my favorite wrestling games was WWF SmackDown on PS2.
My man, taking it back to the old PS2 with the WWE SmackDowns, the OGs, yes, from the early 2000s. I like it. All right. No, that's one of the best ones. A lot of people attest that. They put it high up with that, and Here Comes the Pain and the original WWF No Mercy. Like, there was a lot of games around that time. Like, I'll be honest with you, Palm. I was also the kid that played, remember the NBA shootouts? It's a shootout. Oh, snap. I was actually
not too crazy. I was never too crazy on NBA shootout, but NBA Street 1 and 2 for sure. Trying to remember, all those street games was the shit, man. EA Sports Big, that whole era.
Yep. It's in the game, man. And what was it, NBA 2K3 that had Iverson on the cover in the 2K series with NBAs? Were you a fan of those?
2K3, you know what? I'm more like the pick up and play sports game. So like all the like Blitz the Leagues, those two. Blitz the League 2 was on Xbox 360. That shit was insane. I've like Mario Baseball on GameCube.
Yep.
What else? I never really tried FIFA Street, but NFL Street 2, yeah, like if I was to play a sports game, it's always the pick up and play.
I like your style.
Just because I'm, a casual fan. It's more my dad that's like, the serious sports fan.
I feel there's a lot of great games like that, and it's great to see how the video game industry, my God, has boomed over the years. And I also remember, okay, now this will accommodate. Do you remember Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York back in
do I never owned Fight for New York, but Vendetta was my shit, and Icon was my shit too.
Oh man, like I remember playing as, oh my God, there were so many great characters in that. Joe Budden, you had Grandmaster Flash, you had a lot of great rappers in that Method.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my partners was telling me that there's some communities that still play that competitively.
It's out there, and because it's one of those iconic games. I think what's great about it in today's day and age, where we have nostalgia and we have the up and coming stuff, you can't get enough of that nostalgia. But like you talk about that balance and that nice mix, it really shows a lot of fluidity in today's society and evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's an article definitely in this about that whole like hip hop and video games era. I never played this, but like, there's that 50 Cent Bulletproof game.
Oh man. Oh,
Oh, you played that one?
I've heard some things, and I actually played it once. It's okay.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about it. And I like 50 Cent, but what they did into the video game, nah. I'll stick to Get Rich or Die Trying any day of the week and just watch it.
Right on.
No, but no, there's a lot of great stuff, man. And I think what's great about today's society and today's world with the social media aspect as well. Now we talk about positive and negatives, so really going to anything in life, but social media gives us a chance to promote, to do what we do as content creators, but also that negativity because everybody be flapping off of their gums and everybody's opinion. But I mean, there's some positive and negatives in social media. And I got to say, what do you think about the influx that we've had, geez, for years with social media, especially now with TikTok doing the TikTok up, man? It's great. It's amazing to see.
Well, it's a gift and a curse. I believe social media is the best and the worst thing to happen to the world. Best because, you're able to connect with anybody from anywhere at any time. If it wasn't for social media, this would have never happened. Or pretty much any interview I get. Well, not any, but, most of the content that I end up making with other people happens because of social media. I also think that, people just staying glued to their phone. Yeah, so I just think, it's a heavily distracted generation. And like that notification bell is like, the new cigarette is what they say. So I feel like, there's just too much time spent on phones anyways, especially when it comes to meeting people, like, through these dating apps and through social media. It's rare that people organically meet and connect the same way. We're of the generation where like in middle school, for us, you had to get home to log on MySpace. Now today, kids can be on there all day long, or not on MySpace, obviously, but yeah, they could just be on social media all day long, and there's very little monitoring that, even if there's parental controls set. So, I applaud people who take breaks from social media. Like one of my best homies, he deleted all of his, and, it's brought benefits to his mental health. But I believe it's tough, for those of us who, are in this business, in branding and podcasting and these things. So I think through having conversations on our platforms about social media's effect on our mental health, I think that's how we advance.
Agreed. And I'll be honest with you, as someone who was gone, I'll be honest, I was in a dark place not too long ago. Social media was a part of it. I had a lot of internal stuff going on, but I look at it from a stance as well. If you have that disconnect from the world and you have that connection to oneself to better your surroundings, that's one of the main things. Like you were talking about your homie there, disconnecting, getting off of social media. I'm going to say right now, it's a trip. It does do something to one's mental health for what you see. Sometimes you got to take a break, unplug it. You got to do what you need to do to really advance and help your mental health. Because at the end of the day, it's great that social media, like we were talking about how it plugs and helps promotes. But at the end of the day, you have one hand where you can count your true friends on it. Mind you, it's wonderful to see the friends in that you acclimate with social media, but god dang, man, it's not the be all end all of everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the be all end all. I just, feel like it created this extra persona to a person where like these likes and these comments, these follows are like at this added fake value to somebody, that, there's the face to face, and then there's this screen vibe of who they are. And, it's crazy because a lot of artists I've met, I've, thought they were going to be the coolest dude ever, and, very true to what they rap about. And, they're, you ain't popping bottles in the club, bro. You're at home, on PS5, which is totally cool, which is totally chill, by all means, but I just think, there's definitely a facade built up, behind these screens.
And that's the thing too. Like, and I always say it's an extension of ourselves, and it amplifies our characters and ourselves like a certain volume. But what's interesting about social media too is like you talk about it's all about the likes, it's about the follows, it's about the reposts, the shares, the retweets. At the end of the day, and again, that's very cool, but it's almost like we need that self-vindication, like the fact that, oh, we're liked, we're being talked about,
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Oh, my bad. I saw this ad for a musician that popped up and it didn't even show like it didn't play a clip of the song. It didn't show like a clip of the music video. It just showed like over 1 million streams, over blah, 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 Spotify followers. And it was just like just numbers. Like, am I just supposed to listen to this because other people are listening to it?
Right. It's like we can't make up our own minds anymore about what we like and not like because you go, oh, because this one is so popular. It's the cool thing. It's like how when we're teenagers and we have that image, Fluffy, Gabriel Glazer was talking about it, from ages like 12 to 19 or 13 to 19. It's all about that image, what we can accumulate and accommodate. But at the end of the day, man, we're grown ass men. We're both about to be, I'm 30, you're about to be 30. We're both around the same age here, Palm. We just do what we do and we love what we do. And we want
exactly. And happy belated to you, by the way, bro.
I appreciate that so much. But yeah, first of all, the dirty 30 thing. We're going to talk about this here. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I understand it. But it's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? For me, I always look at it like if you're the big 3-0, it's just another year. It's another day. It's another blessing. So, hey, man, it's another year on this planet, right?
Yeah, I feel like, for guys, it like, I don't want to call it anticlimactic. For guys, it's like whatever. For women, it's like, oh, hear me roar.
Hear me roar. And I can appreciate that too. I think that's what makes, like, we talk about the work of art that women are. And I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Thickness Protection over here. I know you got a lot of great interviews coming out. I know you got an interview coming out with Brianna Kahlo. I listened to a lot of the stuff with Julie Ginger, Aston Martin. Man, like I said, what I love about it is the deep dive and the adult entertainment industry, not just with the thick girls, but there's a lot of work that goes into the scenes and how everything goes into fruition. I've always respected about that, about the adult entertainment industry.
Right, because at the end of the day, it is filmmaking. So there is a lot that I'm learning through these conversations. One thing I wanted to tell you, it was always through hip hop that I got to the porn stars. Like the first adult actress I interviewed in 2017, her name was Christy Live. She was on Plumper Pass. And at the time she was rapping and she had a clothing line. And then, fast forward, I had a lady goes by Ms. Mamacita or Tootsie, who became a good friend of mine. She had done a couple scenes and, done some, background video vixen type things, some, little modeling gigs here and there and some extra acting. But she was friends with a rapper who I just had on the show the night before. So I interviewed her. And then Julie Ginger had this rapper named POS, underground rapper out of Minneapolis. She had a gif of his face in her butt crack once on her story. And I'm like, oh, it's about time I interview another BBW porn star. Who should I interview? And Julie's like, me. And then she follows right back and we just set it up. So yeah. And then, at this festival called Once Upon a Time in LA, which was a disaster. Well, rest in peace, Draco the Ruler. That's where I ran into Monique. And then I didn't say anything because I was on the phone with my boy trying to link up with my friends trying to watch Too Short. I'm like, there goes one of those Plumper Pass girls. And yeah, sometime after, just shot her an email and then here we are. It's cool as hell.
I think that's the professionalism side of things from both of us. I think when I do with my interviews, like we talk about all facets of life and variety, man, just going out of your way, giving a nice professional message on social media and email the traditional way, it does wonders. And I always say people that who want to do interviews or what have you, if they say no, then just move forward. You know what I'm saying? One no. Yeah. Other avenue. So it's crazy just to do what we do and get to give people the platform to tell their stories. But I always tell people, like, don't be diminished or don't feel discouraged if they say no, because there's some people that don't want to do this. Just move on and do what you like.
Exactly. And you're going to get no's and you're going to give no's as well. Right. So yeah, to anybody who wants to get into podcasting or interviewing at any level, like, trust me, you're going to get and receive no's.
Mm-hmm. And it
give and receive. Yeah.
But it happens. And I also look at it from a stance too as well. I also see it from the person side of things when they don't want to do it, because I'm like, okay, maybe they don't want to have the same questions, or maybe it's just they don't feel comfortable. Again, what I've always been about, and I don't know if you feel this, and I think we can talk about this, accommodation and comfortability is a key factors in any part of life. Make them feel accommodated, make them feel comfortable, and that brings out a fantastic conversation.
Absolutely. And I don't ever feel entitled to somebody's time or entitled to somebody's clout. And, I've been relatively humble, I think, in my career in journalism. So, I just like connecting good people. And I think you can relate to this, Mike. It's just being like a collector of people, so you look back at your whole portfolio and you say, okay, I've sat down with a lot of interesting people, and I've learned this from this person and maintained these relationships. So yeah, it's just about, coming up with like, a eclectic bag of souls.
I like how you put that, because it's one of those things where, and here's the longest I will say to you, I've ever waited for an interview. It's 2 years. And the person that I interviewed was, remember Raquel, in a dream, my love, you will find my heart. That 90s. Like I grew, like she's fellow New York. Like I wanted to interview for the longest, and about 2 years later, boom, you know what I'm saying? Patience is a virtue. It's stuff like that where you're committed to what you want to do and who you want to work with and stuff like that, and everything coinciding and going into fruition. It's one of those things where you want to do what you want to do, and you just want to grab that person, have that gravitational pull. So you get to add it to your, like you said, your cast of souls, what have you. But it's great because it's like, man, you have that fulfillment and get the chance to chop it up, and we all make the most of our time. Doesn't matter if it's 30 minutes, an hour, however long the show is, you make the most of your time.
Yeah, exactly. Make the most of your time. And the thing I'm trying to remind myself more nowadays is just have fun. Like, I don't want to walk in there like Poindexter or, come with, this list of hard questions. And I don't want to get to like, 60 minutes on them. Cause at the end of the day, I come from stand up. So like, I still feel obligated to make somebody laugh. I still feel obligated to, keep it kind of cool and, just keep it light. And, that's why sometimes I'm not even the most interesting person on camera. Like I look back at older things I put out, be like, why the fuck did I release that? But like, I just, there's other ways to compensate with that. Like, just fun stuff like sound effects and GIFs and pimp and palm and just different things you could just go balls to the walls crazy with.
Well, I got to say, it does help with what you're doing. And also, man, you also have I'm going to say this right now with the utmost respect into you, Paul, man. You got that charisma about you, man. You got to talk about coming stand. You have that entertainment side of things. That does fit well. I'm very happy.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I'm a natural entertainer by nature, bro. Like, that's redundant. But yeah, like I was like the cafeteria comedian. I wouldn't say class clown because that's corny to me, but like yeah, just I was always like saying some funny shit, saying some slick shit, just crack up the whole class. Like, it's just, life is not that serious. And there's been times where I took things that should not have been taken seriously at all very serious. So as I've gotten older, I've just, learned to like lighten up a bit, just be you, because that's what people love, and just keep it moving like that.
You have to. And I also love the fact that you mentioned that, because, I mean, when you're talking about your slick shit, man, you remind me about that ghetto slick shit, man. One time for your motherfucking mind. I feel like Jai, man. Hey, huh?
Come on now.
Yes, sir. Could it be the ice you see? Yes,
yeah. I was listening to one of your reviews on SoundCloud. You reviewed R. Kelly Chocolate Factory.
Yes, I did. Yes. That was some years ago, brother.
I was like, what does he know about this, man? If I see that CD right now, I'm just thinking like, this is some shit I would find in the trunk of my dad's car.
Hey, man, like I said, I was, when R. Kelly's Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that's a beautiful CD though, for real.
That came out when I was like 12. I was 04, man. I was just graduating from elementary school going into middle school when that song.
Oh yeah, that's had Ignition remix, and that had so many gems on it.
Oh man,
God, why is he such a perv? Why did he
go? That's the problem. I meant to talk to you about this, and don't mean to digress, but goddamn, you put this on your story, the R. Kelly interview, and I'm like, this man has made great music since the 90s when he was a public announcement talking about she's got that vibe, like all this stuff. And then now you find out about it years later, and it's like, why do you have to be such a perv? You make such great music.
It's very difficult to go through, and especially with him and Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
But I honestly, as a Black person, R. Kelly's music is very cultural to us. And, I'm especially proud and curious that you've picked this up too. But like, yeah, that's family cookout. That's, that's that grown and sexy music. So you gotta love you some Kells, and he fucked up. He's a fucking pervert. Yeah, shame on him. Yeah, he's nasty. But goddamn it, did the motherfucker make some jams? I'm sorry.
Did, man. And I from a stance too as well. Like we were talking about Ignition. Like I remember in 03, like I've seen this movie. A lot of people I'm sure have. Nick Cannon, Christina Milian talk about Love Don't Cost a Thing, where they're driving down the road, you have Ignition playing in the trunk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's like stuff like that just makes you smile and it takes you back to a good time. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, people said the same shit about Michael Jackson over the years, but Michael Jackson is still the king of pop. He's like one of the greatest of all time, and if not the greatest of all time.
Yeah. You know what? I think, at the end of the day, man, people have good and evil qualities.
Right.
And, you could be a very talented entertainer, but a sick motherfucker.
I mean, look at Chuck
It
Berry.
is what it is.
Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry had Maybelline and Johnny Be Good and all these great songs, and then you find out the man gets arrested because he likes watching videotaping people pee, and it's like that's kind of odd and weird. But I mean, we all have our demons, we all have our skeletons in our closet, if you will.
This is true.
It is, but
yeah.
I think what's great about it too, man, is Palm, as I'm sitting here, I'm talking about you were chopping up, shooting the breeze. What I love about what you're doing, and I got to say, people, if you've not checked out Palm, he does a great job with the Palmcast, the Thickness Protection Program. You have a variety, and you are some goddamn special human being, man, because you really put a lot of work into what you do. And once again, love.
Oh, I appreciate it, bro. Off top, and same to you. Like, I just love how you bring out this natural chill to people where, you just have great conversation. And it's like, I really admire you as like a podcaster's podcaster. I believe we're still kind of early in our careers, but you're one of the guys I want to look back and be like, oh yeah, I've supported Mike from like way back. Yeah. Like,
I appreciate that. Appreciate that wholeheartedly. I mean, I'm a kid. I started in 2015, and then I just start getting to the peak, man. Like I'm starting doing my thing with we got the LFC network for those who check out Lingerie Fighting Championships. I'm on Roku doing my thing on there with the podcast. I'm doing a lot of things that I'm blessed to do. Like who you got to talk with. It's a blessing, man. Don't stop and just please count your blessings, man, because as we get older and as we get wiser, as we chill out, as you so eloquently put it, man, we get to see the fruits of our labor, and you're gonna keep seeing the fruits of your labor, man.
Yeah. I want to see fruits of my labor. I started in 2015 as well. And I didn't even want to I didn't envision myself as a podcaster, and I never meant for Palm as a platform to become the Dylan show. It's just, there are things that are just better explained with me sitting there rather than like in writing. And there are also music that I come across that like I'd rather write about, so it's just having an ear for both and just having different skill sets to, know like, okay, this is skill sets and it's time. Cause you got to be like, okay, could I get up here and talk about this album for 2 minutes? Or could I just like, okay, I have one song, just like run down a little info, make a quick little video edit. And that's what I love. That's what I really love about what I do is that the visual side of it. Just to make eye-popping graphics and to make these short videos. That's really always been the most fun for me, like making album cover artwork. My mom is an art teacher, so that artistic thing is also a big part of me. So I've always been gravitated towards like art classes and things like that. So I feel like I get to use like my whole brain when I'm just making content.
Exactly. And for me, like, it's funny, like you talk about with your side of things, like when I started, like, as you eloquently put it, with my pop culture show, like I've done over 100 episodes on that just started.
Nice.
Thank you. And I think just from how I pictured it was, I have so many vast CDs in my collection. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about these albums. Like, I'll be honest, there's some that probably people don't even remember. Like I talked about Coffee Brown and After Party, and a lot of people probably are right after party.
Minneapolis. Yep. After the party. That's my jam.
It's amazing, but a lot of people probably don't even know that song. And so I'm like, well,
they're so underrated. I went back and listened to that whole album a couple years ago and just been like, damn, they don't make music like that today. Just that early 2000s R&B, man. You got like other groups like City High and the stuff like Next, who grew up on the same street as my dad in Minneapolis. So, there's a lot of that early 2000s R&B that, utilize like duets, like a male and female duet.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you were talking about like Coffee Brown, like they also had the Weekend Thing, it's Friday.
Weekend Thing, yeah.
Like that. I mean, we talked, like you mentioned City High, but what would you do? I mean, we had Jimmy Cozier, Sometimes I Love Her, Sometimes I Carl Thomas will be here all day with early 2000s. Rough Ends, my goodness.
Yeah, Rough Ends, yeah. Ideal. Whatever you want to do. If you ever come to LA, we got to go to Peaches and Cream.
You're definitely
it's a early 2000s R&B party. That one goes up.
That's my jam, man. Also, besides the fact that ice cream, you know what I mean? Peaches and Cream, little 112 in the mix there, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I could go all day, man. I love me some Tooth Ow Wow. Same. That's just the best to like dance to, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm gonna say right now, if I'm ever in the LA, man, we'll do it up with some Peaches and Cream, homie.
Definitely.
Now, a couple final things here, which I'm going to say right now, Palm. It's been such a pleasure to shoot the breeze and just really pick your brain and just talk music, thickness protection program, because you're doing a lot of great work. Sir, the overture's here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, appreciate it, man. It just went by quick. I had a great time.
Hey man, time flies when you're having fun, and that this is what this platform is about, is having fun. Now I got to ask you, sir, I did see some photos and I got to see some footage of what you're doing, man. The iHeart Video Awards, man. I saw you doing your thing at the iHeart Awards. Let's talk about that, because
Right on.
that is big, dude.
Oh yeah, that I kind of just, a ticket fell into my lap. Shout out to my friends he lost. They had a ticket, extra one. I just pulled up. And I'm really trying to get into the habit of like vlogging more, like wherever I go, whatever I do. That's something that I wanted to do for years. Just seeing like Adam 22 do that and Cam Handler do that. I'm like, well, fuck, if they can, why can't I? And this has all been baby steps for me. I mean, I wasn't like, ta-da, early stages, best equipment, best camera presence, best look, best talking. No, this has all been, like steady, like, up climb. So I try to do the best I can with what I got. But hey, the iHeart thing was cool. And I'm trying to do like a little taste of that for every concert I go to, because whether I'm covering it or just going for fun, I'll probably go to, on a good run, shit, I got a couple concerts a week. So yeah, that's just how it is in LA, bro. That's like part of our entertainment. It's the entertainment capital of the world, really. So like you're gonna go to a lot of music events out here.
That's a beautiful thing too, man. It brings people together and it's a fun time all in all. And that's what life in itself is all about. So Mr. Paul, Mr. Dylan Fleming, before we close this out, sir, you are on a vast variety and a vast majority of platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, tickety-tock, you don't stop. You know what I'm saying, man? So tell us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
All right. My website is prettyawesomelitmusic.com. My Instagram and TikTok are _PA.LM. My Twitter is Dylan is Palm. Don't expect me to like really be tweeting like that, because I just go on Twitter to fuck around. YouTube.com/Palm official. I wish I knew my Nintendo Switch code off the top of my head, but DM me on something, I'll get it to you. And yeah, we could go play Super Smash. And is that all I got to plug? Yeah, Snapchat, Chillin' Dylan 323. And yeah, that's it.
Links will be in the description for Dylan, and definitely check out the Palm YouTube channel, which features the thickness protection program with Monique Leslie and Chanel Barbie. We're just on that. I know you got a great interview coming out with Brianna Kahlo. You got a Palm Cash, you got music, you got motivation. What else can you want from Pretty Awesome Lit Music? I suggest you guys give them a follow, because I got to say, Instagram, speaking of lit, man, it's lit. You have a lot of great Instagram posts. Definitely get worth the follow.
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate it so much, man. I'm really trying.
That you are. And also, I will put in the Instagram, follow the thickness protection programs on Instagram now too.
Yes. We have the thickness protection Instagram. Everybody go follow that. Trying to keep that updated the best I can. And yeah, I just want to thank, the people of the BBW community who have reached out, gotten, a lot of positive feedback, and, a few cool people have connected. So I'm happy to be embraced by this crowd. And I'm sure, Mike, you found that this community, if you show love to them, they show love right back. So happy to have, all the BBW fam in the palm tree now.
You already know what it is, man. Respect is earned. It's reciprocated on both ends.
I'm trying to come up with a word, like a cult following word for like the thickness protection program supporters, like the thickness protectors. Yeah.
Protectors. All right. Okay. Well, no,
the protectors.
Protectors. I like it. Okay. It can also mean different meanings. All right. I like your style.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
The thickness protectors, for the thickness protection squad, and for my main man Palm. My name is Mike Larkin. Thank you guys for listening to another edition on the mic with Mike and Palm. Thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, everybody, peace, love, Palm.